Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Hey friends, and welcome back to another episode of Genuine Business Stories, where we have real front porch chats that inspire success. I'm your host, Clint Strom, and today we're talking with someone who's built a business around protecting families and homes from everyday challenges of pest. Our guest is Lacy Baker, the owner of Mosquito Pest Authority, a standout local company serving with Montgomery to Plantersville, Texas, and surrounding areas. Lacy's business specializes in premium mosquito treatments that go far beyond the competition, along with a year-round pest control protection for homes and yards. But in this episode, it isn't just about pest control. It's about leadership, perseverance, and building a reputation for a service that truly makes a difference in people's lives. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's dive into the journey of Lacy Baker. Lacy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Great. So tell us a little bit about your business, the services, and then provide people with the contact information of how they can get in touch with you.
Sure. So we are obviously local. We are residential and commercial, mosquito and pest control. We're licensed all the way to termite. So we've got everything in our wheelhouse. Over the year, different pests are going to be invading your yard, trying to get in the home. So from fleas, rodents, we're about to be in rodent season. We've got it in our wheelhouse. So there's no contract, there's no startups when you add on those services throughout the year. That's another thing that sets us apart is a lot of the competitors will do initial fees, then it's a different fee. We're just a one fee type program, make it easy for the customer and protect the home and yard year round. So, and then you said my contact info?
Yes, your contact
info.
Okay,
so contact info is obviously the one and only phone number, 346-225-4352. That is the easiest way. We're always on the phone to get in touch with us. And then bugsbite.com, because we are from Montgomery, Willis, New Waverly, Richards, Cut and Shoot, Plantersville, all those areas. So go to bugsbite.com, enter your zip code, and then it'll pull the phone number too.
Fantastic. What inspired you to take the leap into ownership?
What inspired me? My husband is the one who took the leap. And then with both of us, he's very entrepreneurial, but both of us are hustlers. So when my marketing background, he's getting the business started and I'm like, oh my gosh, how are we going to market it? So that helped with the growth, right? Just making ads, listening to people complaining about pest issues. And once it started growing as a side hustle, one of us needed to quit our jobs. And he's like, do you think you could do that? And I knew I could. Like, again, I'm just like, I know I can. I can do anything. So that kind of inspired me. I love leading people. I was in construction and I had my crews, my guys. I love working with people. And so that just kind of made me take the leap to run the business.
I've known you for a few years now. Mm-hmm. You do a great job of helping your customers to understand what you're doing and why. Correct. How do you take what to most of us is either, okay, just tend to it, or it's complex with the chemicals that you use and you're going to have concerns about pests, and you do a fantastic job. Kind of tell us your approach of what went into you figuring out how to make this simple so that your customers would understand what you're doing for them.
Right. Well, and that's what I also, again, you learn as your business grows. Everything's a learning lesson. But you have to paint a picture of what you're doing because people think, oh, it's pest control. They're going to come and just spray some stuff. Oh, it's mosquito. They're going to go and spray the bushes. But you have to educate in order to give your business credibility, to give the service credibility, and to kind of cover your butt as to why or why not it's going to work. If a customer keeps a mop bucket with standing water, after the rain, they're never dumping their stuff. That's a breeding ground for mosquitoes. So education to the customer is absolutely essential to make the service work, to make the customer understand. Same with pest control. Like I said, they think you're going to go around the house and spray a barrier. But if they're dropping food or, the kids eat popsicles outside and they don't hose off the remnants of that popsicle that dripped, that's a food source for ants. So it's just my self-learning education from my technicians, taking classes on pest control, and then either through emails, marketing to the customer for those services, or word of mouth. I always tell the techs, always just educate the customer. And then I do that as well when someone calls for services. So
individuals, and rightly so, are concerned about their children and their pets.
yes.
So what kind of misconceptions have you run into with customers that you've been able to educate to where they know, no, our products are safe for your children, for your pets, and once we spray, there is no cause for concern for any type of contamination.
Right. Well, and that's one of the first things I thought of from a marketing standpoint, and that our name is on the business. I don't want to be killing bees. I don't want, a tiny kitten becoming sick from something, a child becoming sick. Everything we buy, and pest controls come a long way. So every company should be using low tox products anyways. But our lab creates products for what we're treating for. So our mosquito solution, if there is a lizard in the bush and they go and spray that bush, that lizard's not going to be affected because it's scientifically made for the mosquito. And that gives people peace of mind, because pesticides, they're strong enough to work from the outside. But if there's activity in the house, people have ants or they're seeing roaches, and we do have to go in the home, they know that it's a low tox level. And it's diluted with water because insects are this big. So you don't need this huge amount of product to treat the problem. You only need a very small amount. And we're responsible applicators. So I always say that. My techs say it, and it gives people peace of mind because it is important. I mean, it's a chemical.
So you mentioned bees. If you come across honeybees, in your business, how do you handle that? Do you have a beekeeper that you call to?
We do. We do. If any bee problems, we refer to, her name is Allie Smith. She would be a good guest too. And if we have people who keep bees on their property, we treat around. Again, since it's all small amounts, we can alter our treating. Same with chickens. Chickens like to peck. So we'll keep the granule away from the chicken coops. We've got processes for everything.
So what is one piece of advice you can give a homeowner or a business that helps them work well with your company so that once you start treating their home or their business, that they can help keep the pest under control?
Yes, and it's cliche, but it's sealing entry points, because over time, no matter if it's hot or cold outside, the pests are if you have gaps under your door, if you've got, loose siding, windows that won't close all the way, they can feel that AC. It's a direct entry to the home, regardless of like how big or small. But they'll feel the heat in the winter, and that is a easy access point for any roach, rodent, ants, anything like that. And another piece of advice, which is true, and my husband's told me since he got into it, is you can close your first floor tub drains. Like that's also an entry point right under the house. So everyone complains about earwigs, roaches, all those bugs that love moisture. They're coming in through your tub drains. So close those drains when you're done using them.
Some of your early challenges. Because of knowing you, and you treat some of my family stuff.
Yes.
You treat others, their homes that we know. What were some of your early challenges of starting to build your reputation, hiring technicians, doing your marketing? I know two things you're amazing at. That is, your reputation is stellar.
Thank you.
And your marketing, it's always a joy when you do a presentation for one of our groups. So
yes.
What were some of the early challenges? Because let's say the marketing, some of that is not natural initially when you start talking before people. I had a position in leadership with a company before, and my boss says, you'll have to give presentations to your markets. No problem. I got a mouth on me. I can talk.
Right.
But when that became structured and it wasn't just me opening up, because I never cared if there was 200 people in the room, all of a sudden that was different. It's part of why I asked for input on my presentation last week, because as you work on your skill set, it is a different skill set, and you do a fantastic job. I've heard you present over multiple networking groups.
Yes. And the challenge in the beginning, the main challenge was the education. I didn't feel confident because I'm the same way. I can talk to anybody, but I didn't know how to articulate and the right verbiage for the pest I was talking about or the treating cycle thing, like fun facts. I love giving facts in my presentations about bugs. But I needed more education. And then once I did get more, I went to classes, conventions. I felt more confident as an owner of a pest control company, but also selling my business, my products, my services, because I knew the education, the severity of how bed bugs, like how easily a bed bug can just get into your home. You know, people just think, oh, you get it from a hotel. And so learning just information and education about certain topics made presenting easier. And then another challenge right away, whenever we started, we had no rain one summer and Mosquito was the bread and butter. So the phones were not ringing. I was like scared to death that I just quit my job. And I'm like sitting here like this, like, oh my God, what do we do? We're so slow, you know? So I pivoted and started making ads for fire ants, just started really pushing pest services. And then once the mosquitoes came, I would convert those pest customers to Mosquito. So
I'm going to date myself a little bit as far as my age. You have a part of your business now that when I was a kid was kind of a casual joke when you went to sleep. Sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite. Now to changes in the dynamics of our economy, how goods come into our country and the whole country itself.
Right.
This is now a real thing.
Yes.
I always thought it was a joke, but tell me a little bit about that, because bed bugs can be a challenge, I've heard, to get control of, because I think, can't they get in your walls and in your mattresses? And
yes. So again, yes, that little jingle of don't let the bed bugs bite, they are, and another thing, just you hear about them, you just never think it could happen to you, but you could pick up, just with your carry-on, you put it down on the airport floor, you could pick up a bed bug, bring it to your home, and bed bugs can, after they mate once, they can have several offsprings because all they need is that protein stored in their body from the male. So they don't need a second partner to continue reproducing. So once the bed bug has a blood meal, she's ready to just keep having babies. And like I said, it's as easy as that. Just pick one up in the airport. I had a customer who, he doesn't know how they got it. They traveled, but in a very well-known neighborhood, very close to us, his daughter was starting to get bit and they were like, okay, that's weird. You know, what is it, a mosquito? And then they noticed it's at night. So they go and do the mattress inspection and there's bed bugs in it. And he threw it out, but you drag a mattress down the floor or down the stairs. Now they've fallen on the floor. So it's always a good idea to treat the whole home when you are doing a bed bug treatment, just for peace of mind. But yeah, you never know how you're going to get them. And I had another customer he found out his dad's roommate had bed bugs. And so when his dad went visit him, sat on the couch, whenever he was taking a nap on the couch, he felt something bite his arm. And again, process of elimination, it's like he saw a bed bug. So you never know how you're going to get them. But yeah, they're very real. They're in our area. Renters, a lot of times they like to stay behind light sockets. So whenever you put your bed there, they can feel body heat. They'll come out, bite you, have babies, and then again, another infestation. So they can lay dormant until the next host comes. So they just kind of retreat to that little light socket, wait for the next victim, and make their move.
They sound like a Stephen King movie.
For real, they're a nightmare, like they are. It's a very inconvenient treatment process. You got to really clean, bag up everything. We fumigate the whole house. So it's a nightmare, but worth it for sure.
We're going to lighten up things for a little bit.
Okay.
What's a favorite memory with your family that motivates you to grow your business?
A favorite memory. So I have a young son. So we are still in like the beach phase and museums. And so we love Galveston. It's a quick getaway. Business owners, we never stop working. So anytime we can leave on a Friday night and get to Galveston just to truly be present with our son, with our animals, have some family time, we do. So now the motivation is that since we all love it so much, is to get a beach house. So again, it's like that perfect just break because you can work yourself way too much. You have to remember to take some time, be present with your family. So Galveston is always like, it's so convenient to just get away. And that's my favorite memories is when I'm really stressed, I'm like looking at the calendar. I'm like, when can we go to Galveston? Because it's just always such a good time. It's true quality family time.
I just took a trip with my future wife where we went to Kemah, stayed the night, and
Yeah.
then went to Galveston. And then at that point in Galveston, she remembered her dad's favorite restaurant where he would take them as a kid.
I
So
love that.
we went in and had lunch at that restaurant there.
Yeah.
And it was a needed getaway. We all get busy and tend to forget just how one night can refresh us.
Exactly.
And what is needed.
Exactly. And that's, again, people, it's so close to us and there's so much history. There's museums. There's so much to do other than the beach. And you truly can like turn off your brain. You're in another city. You're kind of anonymous because again, as a business owner, everywhere you go, your customers, networking friends, like just people that you've met in the community, someone. So you sit there and talk forever. In Galveston, I'm anonymous. I can just walk the streets, be with my people and have a really good time.
Yeah, I have been told before, Clint, you don't have to talk to everybody you see that when we go out.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Right. I know. That's what I tell my husband. I'm like, I can't go to Walmart under an hour because I see 3 people and 5 minutes turns into 20, So yeah, it's so true.
So we briefly touched on this, but I'm going to hit you with this question anyway.
Okay.
How do you balance your personal passions in your family with your professional responsibilities?
That has definitely been a struggle. I try to my new goal is to kind of shut it off at 7:30. I eat dinner with my son. I'll sit there while he eats. And that's like 5:30, but then I'll go back to the computer. I'm billing, doing stuff like that. So I'm trying to shut it down around 7:30, and it's hard to turn your brain off. You're sitting there, you're like, oh my God, I should be doing something. But I'm trying to really work on having a home life. And then I try to always make it to the gym because even just 20 minutes on a treadmill, I can shut my brain off. I can watch TV, whatever's on at the gym, and just really get a little bit of a break, or else you go crazy,
That's true.
So
What hobbies do you use to help disconnect?
the gym, for sure. And then I would say my little animals. I call my cat my emotional support cat because again, you get so stressed out and just being I have a dog and a cat, just kind of also taking a mental break, getting up from the desk.
Okay, time out. How did your cat become that de-stressor instead of your dog? Because dogs are like, I love you, and cats are like, I'll talk to you when I want to talk to you.
No, this cat is like the sweetest little girl. And I work from home. My office is in the front of the house. It's a true office, but I've got her little cat tree in there. She's right next to my desk. My dog's bed is under my desk and my dog is big. So I can go and pet him, but I can just pick up my cat and like hold her and hug her. So that's why I'm like, oh my God, she just boosts my endorphins. That is like an emotional support cat. So that my animals, again, are just like my other kids. So definitely boost my mood to de-stress.
What's one big goal you'd like to achieve in the next phase of your business?
One big goal, I'm pushing to get more commercial. I've done really well this year in growing my commercial side. I'm educating my technicians. Again, it's not everyone is comfortable selling, building relationships to end up selling, but I'm pushing them to go door to door when we're treating a commercial space. Go introduce yourself to that next office. Let them know what you're doing. If they're ever unhappy, you'd love to have them as a customer. So I'm pushing more commercial, and then of course termite. We need to have our customers, now that more people are hearing of the termite swarms, rodent stuff, is to really push our winter and year-round services to keep our customers with us, provide an actual needed service that'll protect their home. Termites are very serious. And so we have licensed termite techs. My husband's licensed in that. So just pushing more serious services like that.
If you could give one piece of advice to young entrepreneurs, what would that be?
Always have a plan B. I am a planner and I am not an entrepreneurial mind. I'm like oh my God, what bad's going to happen? How are we going to handle it? So that's how I am. I always have something lined up in case something goes wrong.
Plan for the best, prepare for the worst.
Always, always, because as when you're starting out, you're by yourself. Either you're one person in the office, you only have one person helping you. So make a plan B for everything. Don't panic. The worst will happen, but be prepared for it. Be ready to just pivot and like, oh God, panic for like a second and then move on, get to the next, what's your plan B?
I think Mike Tyson once said it. Everybody has a plan when they step in the ring until they get popped in the mouth.
Right.
And life has a way of popping us business owners in the mouth. And it is I like my cliches, as Rocky said, it isn't how hard you get hit, it's how hard you get hit and you stand back up and start moving forward again.
Right.
And I think that a lot of times in businesses, that's what we understand as business owners is it isn't a matter of if I'm going to get hit, life's going to hit me, but I'm going to have a plan B, as you said, to move forward, to pivot around it.
Yes. Only the strong survive, right? It's very hard to start a business, to grow a business, to run a business. So you have to just get thick skin and toughen up and just always kind of be in survival mode. What's the next, like I said, what's plan B?
What do you think the future of pest control looks like in the next 5 to 10 years?
What I'm seeing, and again, people are giving pushback, but I think I think the industry is going to really push for exterior only. I've gotten customers that call and they're like, so-and-so, now they're saying they're only outside only. It is very hard to schedule because we treat by areas. We treat by neighborhoods. So like one day we're in Wood Forest all day. The next day we're in all of Willis or Huntsville or, this part of Montgomery. So when we have to work around times, it makes the day a little difficult. And with chemicals being made better and stronger in a less toxic way, it's strong enough to work on the outside that you don't need it inside. So unless there's, if you don't have any activity, it doesn't need to be inside the home anyways. So I see a shift that more companies, just from making it easier to get the day done, are wanting full exterior. We always offer interior. We do whatever the customer wants, but I see a lot of companies just wanting to be exterior only.
So if you go to exterior only does not mean that you've got to have your customers helping you when you're not out there. Because if they don't stay current with a treatment plan with you, then the rodents or pests insects
Yes.
can break through that barrier. And then how would you get rid of them by just exterior only?
Right. It's always important to stay on a schedule. We have a lot of people new to Texas, new to even this area. Our area is so conducive to pests. We're wet, we're warm, we're by the lake, we're in the woods. It is very important to stay on a quarterly type schedule. And that does not mean 4 times a year. I had a customer yesterday. She was thinking that was only 4 times a year. It is every 2.5 to 3 months, because that exterior barrier acts as a wall. So again, once that barrier is gone or it's low, it's an easy way for pests to get closer to the home. And then when it's gone, they have full access to any of those entry points under your door, in the garage. And then it defeats the purpose of treating,
What's been your proudest moment so far as a business owner?
My proudest moment, again, so you never stop. You're always hustling. My first year, I quit my job in 22 and started networking. We moved here from Tomball, full force, we're going to grow this business, and quit my job, started really pushing. And I was like, okay, what is my goal? We had one tech and I targeted certain neighborhoods to get very big in, very saturated. And I hired a second in that year. And then they start getting antsy at the end of that year. And they're like, well, when are we going to get separated? I'm like, I'm going to get a second truck. So growing the business enough to get a second truck in such a short amount of time was a huge, whoa, you did it, because you become a crazy person. You're networking, you're posting Facebook ads, you're advertising, you're doing events on the weekend. And that was a huge sacrifice because my son was young and I hated to always have him at my parents' house while I'm working all day on a Saturday or Sunday at events. But we got enough customers that we bought a second truck in no time.
That is fantastic.
Yes, thank you.
You're very well known throughout our network groups. How do you balance as you're growing, keeping that personal touch? Because at least from what those of us that network with you see, you very much have a personal touch in growing your business.
I'm a people person, and I love talking to people. I love being with people, and networking is also an escape from the office. It's an escape from the workload, I guess to say, and being with people and just kind of taking a break. I love talking about my business. I love hearing about people's business and what they're doing, because in networking, we're referring our people. So learning about what's going on in this month of their business is exciting to me. It's interesting. And then also a good way to remember when I'm hearing my customers talking or asking for needs that, oh, so-and-so, they were just talking about that they're offering that service. So I like it.
As you grow, processes and systems are very important. It lets you repeat what you're doing, because if you can't measure it, then you can't change it, and you can't manage it if you need to. So have you found challenges in putting processes in place as you grow so quick, or is that coming somewhat natural to you?
It's natural. I'm a very by the book person. I am a firstborn. I'm a rule follower, So when we started, and you feel when you're starting as a company, you're like, oh my God, I have one person, this is silly. It's amateur hour. How do I be a real business? And that was important to me, even with one tech, that we were having meetings and we were having systems in place. My husband is also very by the book when it comes to anything with pesticides, because we are audited. Texas doesn't play when it comes to pest control. So everything was done by the book. And as we've grown, all those processes, again, has made the company just truly legitimate, because we are a business. Even though we're 4 of us, it's all very much like we have our Monday meetings, inventory, everybody knows what to do, and it holds people accountable. We all follow the same procedures. Everybody has to be in uniform. It's all just very much like a real business, even though we're small business,
One thing as businesses we have to remember, and Henry Ford used to say, quality means doing it right when no one is looking.
Correct.
And I tend to, as I've gotten to know you, tend to see from an outsider and 30,000-foot view, that looks like what you and Rich do with your business. We're going to head into a short break. And as we're heading into a break, I want to remind everybody, we're here at Lone Star Community Radio. They're a nonprofit radio station. We rely very much on donations. And if you would like to sponsor the show, we'd love to have you as a sponsor. Reach out to the station, please.
Every Friday, tune into Texas Ticket on Conroe's 104.5 and 106.1 FM with Armando Nino of Gold Lake Conroe, focusing on Montgomery County area events and places. Get a feel of the Texas spirit at the event, paired with guest and vendor interviews, event coverage, and ticket giveaways, and so much more. Join us Fridays and punch your Texas ticket. For more information on the show, visit irlonestar.com/Texas Ticket.
Welcome back to Genuine Business Stories. Lacy, we're going to dive into the early journey. What advice would you give someone that's walked up and said, Lacy, I think I want to own a pest control company. What's your advice? Run?
Do you have any? Yeah, right? I know. Are you crazy? Are you okay? I would say, what experience do you have? Because you need to be a good business owner. And to be a good business owner, you have to be organized. You have to be efficient. You have to have marketing skills. You have to be tenacious and have patience. And if you have those things, then you need the education. Because like I said, I went in, I couldn't even say the word roach. I was terrified of I'm still terrified of roaches, but I couldn't say the word, right? And my husband's like, "Are you crazy? You're selling services for them."
I'm brave till they fly at me.
Right. Oh my God. I know. They're still
Then
frightening.
you'd think I knew kung fu or jujitsu or something because my hands
A
start flying.
sprinter, right? They're terrifying. So get the education, and again, just learn. You learn along the way. You learn what not to do, what to do, but main thing is get the education, get educated in the laws. You have to have a license. And Richard went full blown license all the way to termite. He's an oil and gas guy, but he's not going to get into anything and not know how to do it. So yeah, just dive right in.
Did anybody doubt you in the beginning when you two started your business?
My father, who is also oil and gas and obviously older, is very financially not a risk taker. So he's like, I was corporate, Richard's corporate. He's like, why would you guys do that? That is such a huge risk. Who's gonna keep working? Who's gonna get the paycheck? Very doubtful of doing it. And again, it's like, he knows what kind of people we are. So he's like, okay, I guess you guys can make it successful. But he's the only one who was just like, how do you know that it's going to work? My mom kind of was like, I know you guys will make it work. But no one really doubted us. They were just like, that's random, because again, I'm marketing, he's oil and gas. But Richard, being an entrepreneur, he's like, mosquito control is always going to be needed in our area. And then when our mosquito became big, our customers were like, what else can you guys do? So he went get licensed in pest. And so he's like, it's always going to be needed. It's a no-brainer to own a pest control company. It's recession proof.
I think as parents, I've got a grown daughter. In fact, today is a great day because yesterday my second grandson was born. So,
oh, lovely! I thought you were going to say it's her birthday. That's congratulations. That's super exciting.
But I found with what you said, we have concerns for our kids, even when our kids are no longer kids. Mm-hmm. For me, it was opposite. My grandfather owned his own business. My family, on my dad's side, came from business owners.
Right.
And I can remember early on, corporate life, the house, several houses, the vehicles, and my dad goes, how do you go in and answer to a boss controlling your schedule every day? So it is a reflection of the differences because we're always looking out. To my dad, he always had a business, so he didn't worry about getting laid off.
Right.
And you plan for slow times in your business, but as parents, it kind of shows the contrast of what we know is what we are comfortable with for our adult kids whenever we hand out advice. And doesn't make either one right or wrong. It just kind of shows how when we are growing up, we kind of know what we know.
Right. Exactly.
So I have to ask, outside of fairly recession-proof, there are a lot of businesses out there. What led the two of you to pest control?
So, and like I said, Richard, he always wanted another because oil and gas, it's up and down, right? So he, with random layoffs, he's like, we need another stream of income. And he would come to me with these certain ideas and I would not sign off on them because I'm not a financial risk taker. I would think of things from a marketing standpoint. And I'm like, in 10 years, I can't see that. I can't see people still being interested or it growing after 10 years, just with different ideas. And so he had come to me with a lawn service company and a mosquito control. And the lawn service he wanted to do in the woodlands. It was kind of like a behind the gates type. But the roadblock would have been house managers. How do you get in touch with those kind of people? Then with mosquito control, again, like I said, I was like, wow, that's always going to be needed. That's super easy to market. So that's what I told him. As long as it's not going to kill bushes, not going to hurt bees, not going to, get us in trouble with any legal stuff, then research it, come to me with a business plan, and let's talk about it.
So when you started out, what was the biggest surprise that you found?
Starting out, I was again scared too. Well, we started during COVID. We couldn't get a loan because they were doing the paycheck protection loans. So they weren't giving small business loans. So it was very scary to me to take out a loan for a business that I'm like, how are we going to pay this back? And buying a truck and everything. Like I said, we're just not people who just spend. So that was scary to me, is just jumping right in and just doing everything without customers. So yeah, buying the truck and then waiting for people to call and then start marketing and be like, yeah, do you want a service? That was scary to me, is the getting going phase of just that beginning. You don't know what's going to happen, sitting like twiddling your thumbs being like, let's get business. But how do you get business? That.
So you get started. There's a touch of anxiety for all of us when we open the doors.
Yes.
Do you remember your aha moment? That point where you went, we can build a pretty good life here and support our family and build for our future. Do you kind of remember the turn of the business? Or, like some of us, I have those moments, and then others I'm going, guess I've still got more.
Right. That was short-lived.
Yes.
Yes. My aha was marketing. And because everything is so expensive in the beginning, you don't have money, and everybody wants you to advertise with them. Everybody wants you to do SEO. That's thousands of dollars. So my aha was grassroots. I figured out I could get a lot of customers from paying $75, $100 to do an in-person event, which again, anyone starting out, grassroots is the way to go to market yourself. Go sign up for any sort of fall festival, any neighborhood festivals, get a vendor booth. You are the business owner selling your business. That is the best advertising and the best way you can get customers, the best bang for your buck. So that was my aha, is, wow, I can get like 5 customers in a day. I can get 25 leads that I could follow up on. And that was $75, instead of spending like $450 a month to advertise in a magazine or something else. And then another aha was Facebook post. I can make an ad on Canva, post it in different neighborhoods, post it on mom groups, and then get interest on mosquito services. Nobody wants their kid to get bit by a mosquito, or it's that magic of their kid just got bit by a mosquito or fire ants, and they're like, what was that ad? Who was that girl that was just posting? And they go back and search, and then I get a call. That was also an aha of, wow, I didn't even have to pay for that ad. So although it's time consuming to do both, and like I said, it's a sacrifice to be away from your family in the beginning, do as many events, make as many ads, at night, just sit there and make ads, post them throughout the week, and you get results.
I notice with a couple of our networking groups, they do a good job of watching community Facebook, social media.
Right.
When requests are made. And I can see where for your business, that when we all get on there, there's enough referrals that help with you. Mm-hmm. For my business as a commercial broker, it is a little different than a home and auto insurance agent.
Right.
I will not quote against 4 or 5 other agents, because my business is for you to let me come in and learn your business to protect you. Mm-hmm. And it's not that price is not important, but I am not looking for price-only customers. And when a social media post is, who do you recommend for this? You might end up with 50 or multiple different insurance agents that are selling home and auto and selling commercial, and that's fine. I had been there in the early days of both. But when you change your business plan to go, I'm going to be more hands-on.
Right.
This is what I'm going to cover. And we're going to make sure you're properly covered, because I don't want to see you potentially lose your business, because lawsuits, people look for reason to sue. And if you don't have that proper protection, all of a sudden you're liquidating everything to make sure you can pay off a settlement if you lose.
It's scary. Scary to think about. But also with those tags, at least it keeps you in front of people's eyes. That perfect moment when someone is needing a commercial and they're like, maybe they met you at a chamber event, and then they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I do. I need him to quote my commercial. So that little magic, trifecta.
Well, when I was selling home and auto, I would have jumped all over those, because that is part of that business. Mm-hmm. Somebody's shopping, and you have no idea how many agents you're competing with for that business. A little different dynamic in how your business is run.
Yes.
How do you keep your team motivated when they've had a rough day?
I love to love my people. I love doing stuff for them. I keep them motivated by giving them, like, I'll go surprise them, give them a gift card somewhere. If they stop by my house to fill water on the trucks, I'm like, you want a popsicle? What do you need? You need some cold water? And in the beginning, whenever I hire someone, I say, like, what's your favorite candy? What's your favorite Gatorade? So Monday mornings, we have our meetings. I'll have like the big pack of Gatorade, or like Kenneth, one of my techs, he worked a lot for when one of my other techs was on vacation. So I got him a gift card to the restaurant, his sour gummies. I just love like surprising. And then also recently we got work boots for them, and just little things like that, like to show they're appreciated, things that make the job easier. And we also did an end of summer employee appreciation day, and we went to Tarango's, which is that dry fire gun range. And it blew their mind. They thought that was so cool.
One of the owners, she's actually my ambassador back to Conroe,
so
Lake Conroe. She's fantastic.
She is wonderful. So that was super fun. It was like a really unique experience. But just fun things like that. You know, it's, again, people are like, don't say it's like a family. But when you are a small business, you're a team, and you're only as strong as your weakest link. So keeping everyone motivated and happy is that synergy, because we all have to do our part for it to work. So it's very important that everyone is happy and close, you know?
I think that goes a long way to stability with your employees. I don't think that many business owners or managers at corporations understand. There's this thought pattern of, I'm the one in charge, I can fire you if I want to. There's something that gets missed. When you have an employee leave you, you are being fired.
Right.
Employees generally, as a whole, people don't like change. So when they start looking, you've done something or not done something, because it's not that somebody can't come in, and if somebody increases your income by 25, 30%, that you're going, Lacy, I love you. You're a great boss. I can't turn this down, or I'm getting a promotion. But so often we have to remember, we can be fired too.
Yeah.
I have fired employers before, not many, because God blessed me throughout most of my career before I started my own business, and I have had some amazing managers to work for, highly intelligent. I've had some that you're going, who ties your shoes for you in the morning? And you're going, how'd this happen?
Yes.
That's another story for another time.
I'm going to use that line. Who ties your shoes for you?
You know, as I was putting this show together, I thought about one thing. Our brand, it's not just our logo. Our brand is our reputation. What are people saying and repeating about us when we're not in the room? That's part of our brand, is to make sure that when we're not in that room, it is still to have people talk highly about you and respect you.
Absolutely.
So let's look at standing apart. How do your treatments go above and beyond the competition?
Well, and again, with any treatment, because there's so many pest control companies in our area, there's so many small business pest control. The difference of small and big business, when these door-to-door salesmen that come, you know, they're selling, well, first they're salesmen. So I always tell people, because they'll call me, even my own customers, which I'm like, that's hurtful. They're like, oh my gosh, I just had this salesman tell me he could save me $900 on a year from doing XYZ. And I'm like, I would call the office first, call the office, verify what they told you. And then let's compare apples to apples. With these bigger companies, they're at 10-minute stop times, 12-minute stop times. Small business, my company, we know our customers. We know your yard. You're seeing the same people every time. So those eyes on the yard, when they show up and they're like, that didn't look like that last time. We're taking notes. We're letting the homeowner know, hey, now I see fire ants, or that's possibly a termite tube, things like that, instead of someone who's just in and out really quick. Good, because again, like I said, those 10 and 12-minute stop times, they're penalized if they're at a job site any longer. So they don't have the time to truly do a quality job. It's all about just doing the service, bye-bye to the customer, and then on to the next one. So we are absolutely taking an interest in our customer's yard, making sure everything is properly done and protected.
You do two services that stand out to me outside of the normal services. You tend to mosquitoes. Correct. And you tend to spiders at docks. When it comes to mosquitoes, I think a lot of us think, light a citronellus candle. Tell me a little bit about those two treatments that set you apart, because I don't think that with a lot of homeowners, their first thought is, my mosquitoes. They're just a pain that we've all dealt with, or spiders around the docks. I think a lot of times our mind is we see the tree roach that flies out of our pine trees. Oh, I've got to call my pest control person. So tell us a little bit about what you do for your spiders and the mosquitoes.
So, and those actually are both scientifically made, both the product and the service, because we treat to the life cycle. That's another thing that's different with us is other pest control companies are monthly for mosquito. That is not treating to the life cycle. So you're always going to have a mosquito population in the yard. Every 3 weeks, they are both kind of considered luxury services because you are paying every 3 weeks, but that's what keeps the yard under control. That's what keeps a zero mosquito kind of population in the yard. Is we use a larvicide so no new eggs can be laid, and then we're misting that barrier so no neighbors' mosquitoes in the air have access to your yard. So that has to be done every 3 weeks. That's what sets us apart. It is an amazing service and it truly works. It's helped grow the business hugely, for lack of a better word. And then our boat dock service, that came about also during COVID. Everyone was home. So people would be in their outdoor area. Our lake customers are like, what do you guys do for spiders? My outdoor kitchen and my boat dock, and I want to enjoy the boat. What do you guys do? So we, again, went to our lab, Rockwall Labs, and they have a water safe, natural, it's approved to be over water, and it has to be every 3 weeks as well. That's as long as it'll last. But it will kill spiders on contact, and it leaves a residual around your whole boat dock, your whole, if there's any decking around it, the boat slip. And the spiders do not like the smell. So it's a natural product. That smell, the ones that receded from when we did the service, they come back and they don't want to build webs on that same area. So it keeps them away for, like I said, about 3 weeks. And it allows, again, you have to stay on that schedule, but it allows people to just go out to their boat, get on the boat and leave instead of de-webbing or having droppings from spiders. And if you have a boat, it is a pain to want to go out on the water and then you're like, oh my God, there's webs everywhere. So it's a good service.
There's one challenge that as an outsider, I would see that your business could have. Mm-hmm. In many cases, I know when you've taken care of things I've asked you to, scheduling. So you schedule out. And I would tend to think with your repeat services, you get people scheduled out for months in advance. And then we have weather, a lot of rain. Yes. How do you handle the setback in your scheduling when all of a sudden you've got everything scheduled and then we have a week's worth of rain and you can't get out? So in my mind, you're now a week behind and you've got to figure out somehow to overcome that by keeping everybody, because as we've discussed, hey, you need to tend to this every so many weeks. So it puts a schedule to keep the pest and the bugs under control. Right.
And knock on wood, this summer's been pretty good. We have every other day, it seems like an hour or two of random rain at 3:00. But last year we had like 4 days of rain. It seemed like every other week. And it puts us behind. In that case, we work weekends and we work longer days because you need to stay on schedule for mosquito. And then with that rain, everything is so saturated anyways. It puts a bigger mosquito population in our area. So unfortunately, I'll send my husband out to work after he works all day, and we've got kind of all hands on deck. Everybody's just working to catch up, and we get to everybody when we can. But we try to stay as close to the dates in between, 1 or 2, maybe 3 days, but we work long and we work on the weekends.
Well, your processes keep you on task. There's a show that I used to enjoy to watch. It was The Prophet with Marcus Lemonis.
Yes, great show.
And one of the things he always just continued to discuss, which was business is about people, process, and product. And I think as all of us business owners, that is something that we need to keep in mind.
Absolutely.
So how does protecting homes and yards give families peace of mind? I know that you also business is business, but you do well with interacting and building that personal business relationship with your customers.
Mm-hmm. It gives peace of mind because people like their space. They want to be in their yards. People work hard. They get a nice house. And then they want to just on the weekends decompress, be by the pool, be by the lake. And so being able to be outside with no mosquitoes, we have an excellent fly service. Again, I've gotten so many compliments on new customers who've got the fly service because other companies have similar things, but when something works, like a customer just gets so excited. So to be able to just eat outside with less flies and again, enjoy that family time, it makes your weekends better. So knowing that customers, their kids can just go outside without fire ants, mosquitoes, that's peace of mind to them. Just kind of letting your kids run loose and knowing the yard is protected. Another peace of mind that I hear from my customers is a lot of senior dogs, they don't have their dogs on heartworm medication. So that mosquito control keeps their little fur babies, who are seniors, protected. And that's peace of mind to them that their dog can go out and lay in the sun or just kind of go out and not be worried about mosquitoes biting an elderly dog.
I'm going to bet that's probably one of your number one feedback because
yes.
We're at a point in time where dogs have become family members.
Yes, for sure. I know. And so again, flea control, tick control, mosquito. If you've got that and you have dogs that are just always out there, older dogs, it's absolutely peace of mind to know they can go out and be in the yard as long as they want and nothing's going to harm them.
So from when you started your business to now, have you changed the way you define success?
Yes. Because again, a small business, I think people also, during COVID, I think the idea of side hustles making you rich blew up on Instagram, right? Like everybody was like, get a side hustle, get a side hustle. A small business is not going to make you some bazillionaire, right? So as long as, to me, success is that balance that I'm trying to achieve in my life, and just having a healthy home life with my young son feeling like he's still getting his parents' attention. We're able to up and just leave and go on vacation. And then I know Richard's going to want to start another business. So getting this business off the ground, self-sufficient to where I'm still very involved, but we have the brain capacity for him to start another venture doing God knows what. That's success, that we're still like sanity, we're still sane and we have hair in our head,
I think there are people that would hear that and go, are you crazy? I personally understand it because my mind is there is a certain point that I want to get my commercial insurance brokerage to where I can then start a second business.
Yes.
And not that I don't want to be a part of this, but I want to be able to be a part of interacting with my customers and potential customers and be able to have the staff behind the scenes to take care of pulling quotes together for me, doing service work for me to where I can keep that interaction with my customers to where they know this agent's actually working for me. I have to follow the rules, and we're always told you work for the insurance companies that you have the authority to write to, and that's true. But I work for my customers, and with you guys, you work for your customers. As a business, there's always somebody we answer to, whether it's the state with your chemicals you're using, with your regulations, but we still work for our customers.
Absolutely.
There's something that I was thinking about. A lot of small business owners, they celebrate their revenue. To me, you don't look to just celebrate your revenue. You celebrate your retention. Your repeat customers are worth 5 times more than new ones.
Right.
And therefore, a happy customer, that's very important to us because when we have that customer and we build that trust, it isn't just the revenue the business makes. It's the reputation, because our reputation is dependent upon our customers knowing they can trust us in that things might not always go right, but that we're going to make it right when they go wrong.
Yes, absolutely.
So I was looking here and thinking about some things. Can you give us top 3 homeowners prevention tips that help you guys do your job better to take care of your customers? We all as homeowners, there's got to be things that can be taken care of that help you be very efficient, because if they're not tending to things, then they can sure put you behind the eight ball as a homeowner in letting things go. Then it can make it more difficult for you to do your job.
Yes, I would say the top, again, now that I'm in the industry, people think they can save money. They'll do it. I'm going to do it myself, or I found someone cheaper. Is you get what you pay for. And I've hired techs that they love the fact that we have individual products for what we're treating for. So make sure that you are on schedule with your pest control, and you're with a company who is a quality company instead of just the cheapest company. Because that, like I said, once that barrier is degraded, your general pest barrier around the house, and it's gone, if you're not staying on schedule, the pests, that 5 to 6 feet of that barrier is getting less when it's starting to degrade. Once it's gone, all those pests that were being pushed back from your house now have easy entry to your house. So staying on pest control schedule. The do-it-yourself, like I said, people are like, oh, I'm going to save some money. Summer, we're going on vacation. Let me just do it myself. That's a Band-Aid. It'll kill a few. It's not breaking the breeding patterns. It's not leaving that barrier. It will, like I said, kill what you see, but everything in the soil is still close to the home. So, save in other areas if you can, keep that pest control on schedule. And another thing I said is seal your entry points. Make sure your weather stripping under your front, back doors, garage, all of that is nice and intact. Any windowsills that also the weather stripping isn't there, if you need caulking, do that, because they can feel the AC on hot days. That's just easy for them to get in. And then you've got an ant trail into your pantry. With mosquitoes, any standing water, all they need is a bottle cap size, and that can be 200 plus eggs. You think even like a plant saucer, those hold water. We put larvicide in those. We don't dump the water, but even that is just a breeding ground for mosquitoes. So look for anywhere, old kids' pools, dump truck toy things, dump all that water, and that is one less breeding source for mosquitoes.
Let's quickly touch on myths about pest control. What actually works versus what doesn't.
Okay. So I had someone call me asking if he could tell his customers about coffee grounds and like a vinegar solution. Anything that is like a DIY might be a quick kill, might be a quick deterrent, but it's not going to keep anything away. Anything that a homeowner can buy at the store is not strong enough to work with the licenses we have to buy the products that, like I said, will break the breeding cycles, last up to 3 months, and eliminate the sources. So I think, the myths, again, with the influx of influencers and non-tox, green living, all these like make it yourself type things to get rid of fire ants and mosquitoes, wasp, like the peppermint oil and all this stuff. I'm like, you can try it, but it's not going to work. It just lasts for a day or two. So definitely you do need pest control from a licensed pest control company.
Educating your customers builds loyalty. When you teach first and sell second, customers start seeing you more as a partner than a vendor.
Correct.
Our final thoughts. Lacy, if you could give one piece of advice to homeowners and fellow entrepreneurs that could make their journey a little easier, what would it be?
Any entrepreneur, I would say, again, find a mentor. Get all the education you can. Kind of just like watch someone who's done it, no matter the industry, because watch someone who's done it, ask all the questions. Anything from advertising to how they do their books. You need to have all the information to grow. You need to have what not to do, good, bad, or ugly, just to kind of know what to expect. You feel like you're just kind of walking in blind once you start out. So asking all the questions, finding that mentor, talking to other business owners, networking. I forgot to even say that. Networking is huge. Get involved, get into groups, go to the chamber. That's major when you're starting out and growing your business.
So let's take that opportunity to take a quick shout out to how we know each other.
Yes.
WOMTech, Women on a Mission to Earn Commission, and a few good men.
Yes, and men.
So that is an amazing. It's probably my favorite networking group.
Yeah, I love it.
You know, they're great. What's been put together is
Mm-hmm.
is a very comfortable, affordable environment for us to give presentations, work with others, and this is not the first time I've taken an opportunity to give a shout out to Kiki and,
Yes.
and her organization.
I know. I feel like, isn't this year 3 for us?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is. It's a great group. So again, join a networking group, look for something local where your business is so you can meet with other referral partners, learn about their business, and that helps build credibility.
You know, and I'll also quickly say here in Montgomery County, Conroe, Lake Conroe's Chamber, that's an amazing group of people. Southwest Montgomery Chamber, that is founded in my hometown of Magnolia, and both chambers, they do a great job of making businesses feel welcome and,
Yes.
and working to serve the business community.
They do, for sure.
Let's go into a lightning round.
Okay.
One pest myth you wish people would stop believing.
One pest myth. I think that they can treat themselves. You know, I'm going to say, I'm sure a lot of people are going to like roll their eyes, but dichotomous earth or diatomaceous earth, everybody thinks that is, you know, the kill all and it works and it's natural, but you always need a licensed pest control company. Anything that arises over the years, it's only going to get worse. If you think you killed it, they're still in the soil, they're still behind your baseboards, you know, they're still hiding, waiting to like come out, and they're still breeding.
Well,
So,
Google probably told people that worked.
right. And Instagram.
What is the funniest service call you've had?
The funniest service calls. So I get a lot of calls for people with just seeing one roach after we treated a lot. Oh, and that's another thing. A lot of people, 2 summers ago when it was very, very hot, I had like several people thinking that the treatment was bringing more bugs because they were seeing increased activity. It is what's living around your house, what is hiding behind the baseboards, what's hiding in your closets or pantry. They're pushed out by the pesticides. So it's going to bring more activity. They're just dying off. So that was a funny thing, is people calling either upset or questioning, is it possible that it's attracting bugs? I'm like, no, you know, it's not, there's not a smell in there that's bringing more. That's just what was living in and around your home. So yeah, those kind of calls, but people they call us, they want to knock down one wasp nest or kill a roach that they saw. And that kind of stuff, it just isn't needed. They'll cross the barrier and they'll die off. Wasp nest, I don't want to pay my person just to drive out there, knock down a wasp nest, you know, things like that you can do with the broom handle.
See, you can do something I couldn't do. Would you kill this one roach? Well, did you follow it home so I know where to go to find it?
That's another thing. I'm like, well, okay, well, we can come and do the barrier, but yeah, it went in the closet somewhere, or I don't know where it went. I saw it in the garage.
Favorite local spot to unwind after a busy day?
Favorite local spot. I love Waterpoint Marina. I love Akashi. If it's not like going to the gym, I love going sit at the water and sit on the patio and just kind of talk it out and just stare off into the lake and forget about everything.
So I'm going to see if you can do something that my future wife says I'm not capable of doing.
Okay.
And that is in one sentence.
Oh,
and it's
Lord.
the one sentence that I'm not capable of doing.
Right.
Why Mosquito and Pest Authority?
In one sentence. I would say because we truly care. We're authentic. Oh, see, I want to keep going. I'll leave it at because we truly care. We do.
They do truly care. Lacy, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today.
Thank
From
you.
starting Mosquito and Pest Authority to building a trusted brand that protects families across Montgomery County and Plantersville, Texas, your story is a reminder that when customer service comes first, business thrives. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in for another episode of Genuine Business Stories. If you're enjoying the show, we'd love to have you consider becoming a sponsor, making a donation back to Lone Star Community Radio, or simply sharing an episode with a friend, neighbor, or fellow entrepreneur. And hey, if you know a small business owner with a story that'd be worth sharing, have them reach out to us. We just might have them be one of our guests. Until next time, keep showing up, keep building, and keep it genuine. Thank you.